So, funny story. We pulled into Vesterhorn, and this is actually Stalksness, which is the lighthouse out here. It's a pretty popular spot, and we were gonna shoot a sunrise, or actually sunset here. And I pulled up to the black sand, this little pullout off the road, and just sunk the tires. Oh, it was so embarrassing. I tried for like an hour to dig it out and put rocks underneath the car, and it was buried up to the middle, like high centered. So I had to call a guy from Hoffman to come out, and it cost like 250 bucks US. So not a great way to start the day, guys, but hopefully it gets better after this. All right, guys, well, the morning didn't get any better for us as far as weather goes. We were able to get unstuck, but the weather was just terrible, just still rainy, and it's supposed to rain the rest of the day. So we checked on the weather maps to see where the weather would be good, and we're heading back to the Glacier Lagoon. We bypassed it the first time because the weather was bad, but as we were driving down the road here, we saw some caribou. So we pulled over, and just there's a big herd of them, and there's a giant one in there, just absolutely beautiful. So now we are going to continue on back to the Glacier Lagoon and Ice Beach, and maybe the weather will be a little bit better there for us. But yeah, so we're off to the Glacier Lagoon. What do you think of Ice Beach?
There's no ice, it's just rain.
Well, the rain hasn't gotten any better. It's still pretty bad, but we decided to come down anyway. We're gonna take some pictures of some ice and see if we can come away with something, because the sky is absolutely useless to us. It's about now concentrating on the details. You got some black sand with some of these blue icicles and icebergs and big chunks of ice. So the last time that I was here, I broke my Nikon D810. I was taking a photo of an iceberg, and a sneaker wave came up and got me, and I tried to hurdle over a piece of ice that was standing behind me, and just completely went underwater with the camera, smashed it on a piece of ice, and just, it was a disaster. So this time I'm definitely be a lot more careful, staying back a little ways and kind of watching the waves. There's an iceberg out here I want to try, but it's in the middle of the waves, so it's about me getting out there, taking a shot, and then getting out of the way before the waves come. So yeah, it should be interesting. So I think I got my absolute favorite shot I've ever taken here at the Ice Beach. I did put my 10-stop leaf filter on at 70 millimeters with this really unique shaped ice, and smoothed out the water completely. 30-second exposure, and Chris has been sitting here taking some shots here with the ice and the black sand, so this is actually turning out to be a fantastic shoot. I'm so happy we just decided to stop here and go out in the rain, and it's been off and on, a couple of places in between where it kind of stopped raining, so it's been amazing. The most important setting when photographing seascapes is shutter speed. It can completely change the way an image feels and the entire mood the viewer experiences when looking at it. From really long shutter speeds like in the last image to give a more painterly feel and ethereal mood, to freezing the action in the waves with a faster shutter speed. Watching how the waves crash into the ice or rocks along the coast is the first part of deciding on how you want to interpret the scene and what you want the viewer to feel and see. Alright, well, another thing is, when you're watching this kind of stuff, that's the key, I think, is just to watch. To sit back, to watch how the waves interact with these big pieces of ice and how they wash up on the shore. One, for safety, because you get these sneaker waves that come up every once in a while that are just gigantic, that'll come up a lot farther than all the other waves. So that's the biggest thing, is the safety. But also, to watch how watch how the waves interact with the ice, how it crashes over the ice and around the ice and then flows back out, and just kind of watch that for a little while. Don't be in a hurry, and you'll be able to get some really nice stuff that's more impactful, I think, if you just watch and just wait. And I think a lot of times the images will kind of reveal themselves if you just kind of be patient, and it may take a half an hour or an hour or longer, but just watching the waves, watching the ice, watching how they interact can, I think, bring out a little bit better images. Alright guys, well, as you can see, the different shutter speeds are so important. Being able to experiment a little bit with the different shutter speeds. You know, if you have like 30 seconds, it gives you more of a painterly, ethereal type mood to your image. And then you can do something like 1/8 of a second or 1/3 of a second to show the power and how the waves crash up against, you know, and this goes for any seascapes, not just, you know, shooting these icebergs.
For me, the most difficult thing was finding composition in there, because when I finally found something, a big wave just came in and destroyed everything, and I had to start over again. And then also at the beginning we were just right by the parking lot, so you had some people coming in, tourists taking photos and everything. And then for photography it's you know, it can be difficult because then you have all the footprints, and then with all the footprints in your photo, you know, it doesn't work anymore, because you want it to be very calm and everything. And so these were kind of things that I struggled with. And then I found another area that I really liked, and there I just set up and the rain started again. So I was constantly cleaning my filters and making sure that I don't have any water drops on there. But yeah, I think it was a very beautiful area, and the black sand just in contrast with the white ice or clear ice, and that was amazing.
Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful, and that's one of the things, like I told you guys earlier with all seascapes, is to watch how the waves interact with things on the shore, whether it's rocks or ice or anything like that. But then that can all change in a heartbeat too, the way the tide's coming in or going out, so things are always changing. So it's difficult to really get something really impactful, but yeah, it was what a beautiful place, and it was nice to just soak it in.
Yeah.
As we left Ice Beach and headed towards our last seascape of the trip, we stopped by a couple of the many glaciers on Iceland's south coast. At one of my favorites, Seascapes, I decided to get the drone up in the air and see the stunning landscape from a different perspective. The black lines from the volcanic ash made for some unique abstract shapes on the ice. This place really feels like you're on another planet. Alright guys, well, we pushed on after the Glacier Lagoon. We stopped at Seascapes, which you guys just saw, just such a beautiful glacier, and then just kind of kept driving. We got back to Vik. We actually checked in a hotel because both mine and Chris's backs and shoulders from last night, and having to dig out the car, or trying to dig out the car, was just what a nightmare. So we just got a hotel, and we're at the famous black sand beach now, which you can see behind me. We got the sea stacks, which is ultra famous. You got the basalt columns, everything here, but we are actually kind of coming down this way. We stopped at this little church because off in this direction here, the light just went crazy. Probably the best light we've had since getting here. So we just kind of pulled over. We're like, oh, we gotta find a subject. We found a little church, kind of got behind it, and there were some tombstones and crosses and things like that. made it kind of a really weird shot, but it was, I found it super unique. And like I said, just kind of saw this light, found a subject, and set up and shot it. So now we're gonna kind of walk along this beach here and see if we can find something. Alright guys, so I think we've had about all the weather we can handle. I think it's about time. It's about midnight right now, so the light's pretty much gone. We just kind of messed around with shutter speeds, and that's kind of the big thing to take away from this is when shooting oceanscapes of any kind, experiment with the shutter speeds and you can create completely different moods and looks and feelings of images if you just play with the shutter speed, from really long exposures and painterly images to, you know, really short exposures capturing the power of the waves. You know, just experiment is the biggest thing. So we just had such a blast here. And I was just watching Mike's back that he doesn't get washed away by a wave, which almost happens. Puffin. Another one? Sorry, I get distracted by the puffins. There's puffins right above us landing and they're swimming out there fishing, so I keep getting distracted. So, alright guys, thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you in one of these two videos right here. Bye. Bye.